I heard it in your retirement party that you'd said that one of the countries you were proudest of your working was Sri Lanka. And I know that you visited there a lot, you did a lot of work. I've spoken to some of the NGOs there, and it's not so much personal, but they point to things like OCHA having pulled out of Kilinochie before the final stage of the conflict, the funding of internment camps, and maybe the failure to get to the bottom of the Action contre la faim killings. I just wonder if that is a country you're proudest of. What do you make of that criticism, and what do you think your successor should do on those issues?
Thank you for being so kind on my last day, Matthew. I mean, so far as this mass rape is concerned, it is a truly horrific event, the full scale of which we may not yet know, to be honest. I mean, the truth is that, of course, sexual violence has been a scourge in Eastern DRC for a long time. We've talked about it for a long time. We've tried to put in place measures which can help to certainly to deal with the victims of it, but if possible to help prevent it by drawing attention to it, by pressing the government very hard to do what they can about it, and by working with the peacekeeping mission and the humanitarian community to do what we can, at least by presence, to deter it. The reality is that, this is my perception at least, that until these armed groups, particularly the FDLR, are dealt with once and for all, this risk is still going to be there, and however well MONUSCO performs, they are not going to be able to stop every case of rape, and as has been said before, they can't be behind every bush, even though they have a significant presence in relative terms in that area. And the other point I would make is, let's not, in our concern to chase down who knew what, when, and so on, forget that this was not carried out by MONUSCO. This is the FDLR, or whoever it was, I mean, we don't know for certain, I guess, or the Mai Mai, who carried out these rapes. They are the guilty parties. They are the ones we should be focusing on, as well as on the victims, I say, not on necessarily on MONUSCO, although, of course, there are legitimate questions to be asked which are being pursued. Now, I don't want to get into the whole timetable issue that's being pursued in other ways. I think it is the case that OCHA was informed by IMC, locally speaking, that there had been some kind of incident in that area. I don't know whether it was the 6th of August. I don't have all the dates in my head. Of course, the full scale of it was certainly not known at that point. But we were aware not while it was happening, certainly, but at some point after that. Obviously we're very, very concerned and started to express our concern about it at that stage. On Sri Lanka, I don't think I have said at my leaving party or anywhere else that it was one of my proudest moments. I said that it was an extremely difficult, well, this is what I believe anyway, whatever I may have said then, I believe this was one of the most difficult issues we had to deal with in my time, in terms of trying to maintain a balance between the heavy propaganda claims of both sides and to tell the truth as we saw it objectively about the situation, and to say that while continuing to operate on the ground where we could to help the victims of it, as we did for a long time in the camps. And of course, what's true is that most of the IDPs have now gone home. They still face a long struggle, but they have gone home. And so some of the worst predictions about what might happen to them have not happened. Now, of course, there are still very many questions about this which need to be answered, about what happened during that period, how many casualties there were, who was most responsible, was the government deliberately shelling civilian places. I mean, that's why we've been very keen on seeing some kind of proper accountability and inquiry. There are other issues from before that, as you say. The Action contre la faim massacre has not been satisfactorily explained or even satisfactorily investigated, and we have not lost sight of that. We continue to remind the government. So, there are some very severe issues which need to be raised. My point is that I think that on the whole, given all those pressures, all those difficulties, and all the issues on the ground, we managed to do what we absolutely needed to do, which was to play our advocacy role in an objective way, and give help to the Tamil community who needed it. There were unsatisfactory conditions at the time, as we all know, about the camps, but we continued to press for them to be open, and